And we play all the way for Leeds United. Ellen Road is the only place for us. With heart and soul for the goal that's clearly sighted. We're out to toast each other from that silver cup.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Leeds United News and Views podcast. We've got a new co-host joining us for the rest of the season and probably eternity, unfortunately for us. His name is Jason. Thanks very much for joining us, mate, and tell the listeners and viewers about yourself, mate.
Perfect, mate. Thanks for having me, boys. Yeah, so Leeds supporter all my life. Obviously, from the accent, I'm originally from the place. So been out here for 18 years now. Obviously came out with the family, and one of the things that I've held on to, obviously, is Leeds United. And yeah, that's just happy to be here. Thanks, boys.
Nice.
Yeah, fair.
Nice.
No, it's all good. So we've got some topics today, obviously. We're going to do a review of the Crewe Alexandra game. We will have these timestamped for anyone who wants to go to certain spots and sections. And we're also going to do a preview of the Burnley game coming up on Sunday. First of all, Crewe Alexandra. Calvin Phillips named captain by his teammates for that game. Let's cross over to Chris and let's crisscross over to him and get his opinions on that.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Obviously. Jesus Christ! Obviously, none of us watched the game live. Well, no one in the world watched the game live, actually, apart from the people that were there. But some of us obviously were able to listen to it. Obviously, we've all sat down and watched the highlights, and yeah, from what I've seen, it looked like a very crisp Leeds United performance. Me and CJ both tipped wins, but I don't think we tipped it to be as
one-sided.
As one-sided as what's the word here? Not okay. We'll go with one-sided. As one-sided as it was.
Absolutely. And Jason, mate, what are your thoughts on Adam Forshaw's return?
Oh, look, I mean, obviously it's been a long way back for him, hasn't it? I mean, he's 2 years now.
Yeah, mate.
Coming up to like next month it is. Happy, I guess, to see him, back in the side and sort of, pushing for selection and obviously getting the minutes in the legs. I think because he's been out so long, we forget, how good of a player he is.
Yep.
I mean, before he got injured, in our promotion year, he was in Bielsa's 11. So, and a lot of the players, when from interviews that you watch, they all get asked who's the best player, technically, and a lot of them say Forshaw. So I think the fact that he's obviously working his way back, it's only good, for backup to, moving forward. So
yep,
absolutely.
Good luck to him.
Whenever they were asked, they would have said it's Adam for sure.
Yeah. Love the puns.
that word I was looking for before, by the way, was complete. It was a very complete Leeds United performance, and it caught a lot of people off guard. Our form in the League Cup under Bielsa, it did. Our form in the League Cup under Bielsa has always been questionable. I think this was the first League Cup performance the team's put in where it was very much complete. And you are right, Adam Forshaw. Brilliant to have the bloke back. He's one of those midfielders that just holds the glue. He's the glue that holds the glue together.
He's the Henderson of the side, isn't he? It's fair to say it.
He is. And it's going to be interesting to see how him and Kelvin go in a Premier League midfield.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely agreed. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. Jacko Haradonna. Jack Harrison scores 2 goals in the
Legend.
game, both perfectly set up by Bamford. What are your guys' thoughts? Let's start with Chris.
Haradonna, love the nickname. Unfortunately, we can't take credit for it. I know where you got it from, copyright, I'm sure. Haradonna had a great game. I think he is very much under that spotlight of now having to justify that price tag that we're paying for him from Manchester City. And I think tonight went some way of certainly doing that, once again showing why he is Jack Haradonna.
Strong team put up for the cup game, which is very unlike us. What are your thoughts on that, Jason, mate?
Yeah, look, like you say, I mean, with the team, I mean, when obviously woke up and looked at the team sheet, very surprised to see such a strong starting 11. I mean, typically, as you mentioned, Leeds aren't well known for pushing cup runs. So just to see the starting 11, with so many first team names in there was a surprise in itself. So,
yep.
But as far as the game goes, I mean, obviously, with the cup, that debate as to whether the cup run's gonna, interfere with the league. We don't know, but I guess, building that winning culture and hopefully that performance carries into the league on Saturday against Burnley. So.
Yep.
Absolutely. Chris, mate, do you have anything to add on to that? And what are your thoughts on Forshaw, and should he get at least bench starting spot for the Burnley game?
Yeah, no, first of all, I just want to reiterate what Jason said. It was actually a weirdly strong lineup for a Leeds United Cup game. We saw the return of Diego Llorente at centre back. That was I think a lot of people picked that, and I think it was the game he needed to play. But still, Diego Llorente is a Spanish international defender. We saw Calvin Phillips again. It was Jackie Haradonna. I think the surprise for me was to see not Diego Costa. What are you fucking saying?
Diego Llorente?
No.
Diego Maradona.
Yeah, he was playing.
R.I.P.
What's Costa's first name again?
Helder.
Helder. Helder. He's been out of the fucking first team picture. You got to edit this out. He's been out of the first team picture that long. It was good to see the return of Helder Costa, who's been in the first team doldrums, if you will, for quite some time.
Good word.
And Rodrigo starting at striker in place of Paddy B. It was good to see. Rodrigo finally get the nod up front. But yeah, to reiterate what my colleague said, it was a very strong starting Leeds United Cup lineup.
Oh, absolutely, and I agree with that. And that also does raise the topic: do we think Bielsa is going just for as many wins as we can get, regardless of cup or league, or do you guys think he's going to focus mainly on league or the cup in particular, based on his fielding strong sides for both?
I'm me personally, you boys can speak to it, but me personally, I'm a bit of a football purist in where I think the cups mean just as much as the league.
Yep.
I wouldn't sacrifice a good Premier League finish for a cup run. That said, I would love to see a cup run in my lifetime at some point.
Yeah.
And it definitely seems like Bielsa's intending to do that, and why the hell not?
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on that, Jason?
100%. I mean, I probably second that in a lot of ways as well. I mean, we're not typically accustomed to sort of expecting a decent cup run in any of the competitions, really, as Leeds supporters. That's why, back to that point of being so surprised at such a strong 11. I mean, I don't know how I feel about it. In terms of moving to the next round with a 3-0 win, you can never really complain about that. I think I'm still stuck in the mindset of last season, league was priority. And in my mindset going into each game was, as long as I don't sit there and watch a game where if we lose, we drop into the bottom three, I was quite happy with that.
Yep.
I don't know.
No, go ahead, Chris.
Yep. No, one thing I just wanted to add that I just thought of that carries on from what you were saying. One thing that 3-0 win does do for us, it's actually our first win of the season.
Yes.
And
it was at home, clean sheet, and best of all, to carry on from what you were saying, no bloody injuries.
Yes,
so it's good news all round.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, yeah, it just depends on. I mean, I think it'll be a good thing moving forward in terms of building that, that winning culture, and obviously giving some of those guys on the outers that we mentioned, Costa and obviously Llorente making his way back, and Forshaw, gives those sort of guys, I guess, a separate platform to sort of build upon. So
exactly,
can't complain, really.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. Now, the goals in particular, let's go through those. The first one came off a great corner cross in the 75th minute, finished by the boot of Calvin Phillips. No more fitting than by the Prince himself. Chris, mate, what did you think of that when you saw the replay?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a very tidy finish from Calvin. It was well taken, and from a set piece too. You've got to remember that last season Leeds were quite disappointing at set pieces. It was more of a case of another corner. We're not going to score from this. So it was actually quite good to see Calvin Phillips finish a set piece from a corner as someone that's not really known as a corner specialist.
No, he's not. Absolutely. And crossing over to Jason to cover the second goal, which was Bamford. He basically passed it to Jack Harrison, who did a cheeky little chip over the goalie. What a cheeky fuck.
It was filthy.
Thing of absolute beauty, honestly. Like, by all reports and seeing the highlights, he had some game. I mean, albeit against obviously lower league opposition and all the rest of it. But Jack Harrison, I don't know if you've noticed, but I just love the way he goes about it. He's so positive with the ball. He gets the ball and he drives at players, looking to take on players all the time. His first touch, I know we've had this conversation before. His first touch, I find, watching it, that's one of the best I've ever seen.
Clinical. It's clinical.
Yeah.
It was the word you're looking for is shithousery. It was pure shithousery. Yeah. I'm watching it now. He's just taking his time, little dink over into the corner. My God,
it's literally Jack Harrison's game, and we're just playing it.
Yeah,
exactly. It was pure shithousery. It was a brilliant goal.
Oh, for sure. And then the third goal came 10 minutes later. Again, Jack Harrison assisted again by Bamford, putting the game away out of doubt. All that jazz for Leeds United. We come home with the 3-0 win, round 2 of the Cup, and we take on Fulham in the next Cup game. Fuck you, Fulham, down in London. But we'll cover that in our next episode. However, though, one thing I do want to touch on before we go on to the Burnley game is there was a thing during the first goal celebration. There was a crowd member who stormed the field and did it. Now, in Australia, he would have been arrested, fined, and given a life ban. What are your thoughts on him getting away with it, Chris?
It's what makes the world game so good, mate. The pure, unadulterated passion and the atmosphere. I think that this bloke was just caught up in the moment, as I'm sure we all were.
He lived out our dream.
He did. He lived out a childhood dream.
Yeah, he's all those, isn't he?
Jace?
Oh, look, I mean, if that had, like you said, if that had been in Australia, there would have been a, 10, 20 grand fine.
15-point deduction.
15-point deduction, 2 relegations, but that's, that's another story. But no, I mean, it's very Leeds, isn't it? It's fan comes onto the pitch. Yeah, pure passion, and not even the stewards cared. They just pat him on the back. All right, mate, you've had your time. Go back to your seat.
Don't do it again.
Exactly. It's it wasn't, just to put this into perspective for the listeners, it wasn't quite the scenes that we saw Watford versus Leicester City back in the day. But it was close. It was close.
Exactly. And it does bring up an interesting topic. Not Leeds United specifically, but Aston Villa have banned a person for assisted standing. What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Well, there's a letter. What we'll do is we'll cover that next episode. That way you get some time to read the letter. But basically, this guy was assisted standing, whatever the fuck that is. And he has been sent a letter by the CEO of Aston Villa banning him for life.
Hang on, what do you mean assisted standing?
I don't know, because that's what the letter said.
Even he doesn't know. I think assistant standing. So I don't.
I don't know. Like, what? Yeah. And it's not like he'll miss many wins this year anyway. But yeah, come to Leeds.
He probably needed to fucking stand up for. He just realised how much they actually copped City off for Jack Grealish, maybe.
You're not wrong.
yeah.
Jesus,
you're not wrong. Now, Daryl Dyke. There's some rumours going on there. Chris, you're the man on the stats. Can you tell us what's going on there?
Yep. So Daryl Dyke, for those that haven't heard the name, I broke a post on the Leeds United News and Views page last night. We are linked with rumours, as much as rumours count these days at Leeds United. There's rumours that we are linked with a bloke called Daryl Dyke. He's an American striker who spent last season on loan with Barnsley. It was a season-long loan with a £20 million option to buy, and for whatever reason, maybe because they're skint, they didn't take the option up, which is weird for a bloke that made a decent return. 9 goals in 19 games. He had scored 4 goals in his first 6 competitive games for the club. He won back-to-back Player of the Month awards for Barnsley, and he also scored the goal of the year, a powerful strike from the right-hand corner of the box that went into the right-hand corner of the net.
And this is an American.
It is. It's an American from a country that doesn't take football seriously.
Soccer, as they like to call it.
Soccer.
Soccer.
But yeah, it was weird that they didn't pick it up. But once again, £20 million in the championship is massive money, as we used to know. But definitely an impressive player, and maybe there's something there, maybe there's not something there. The chatter that I'm hearing is that it'll be under similar terms to Barnsley. Sorry, not Barnsley, Burnley.
Yep.
Was it Burnley or Barnsley?
Barnsley, my guy.
It was Barnsley. Yep, cut this out. I don't want to sound like a dick.
It's on similar terms to Barnsley in the sense of a year-long loan with an option to buy.
Yep. So my hearing is that it will be a season-long loan, similar to them. £20 million option to buy. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, thank you very much on that. And also Ian Pavetta to Blackburn. Thoughts on that?
That's Ian Pavetta to Blackburn's a bit of a difficult one for me personally. He was one of those players that came through the system and looked for all the world like he had the talent. I can still remember his first Premier League game for the club. Came on as a substitute and he made some marauding runs down the wing. But unfortunately, he was one of those players that just couldn't develop that final product of his game, the all-important final product of the game as a winger. And obviously, he's now behind the likes of Gelhardt and players like that. There were rumours that there was a training ground bust-up with Bielsa. We are obviously only 2 people that will know the truth to that rumour. But yeah, he's been sent out on a season-long loan to the Blackburn Rovers. Hopefully I wish the lad all the best. As we will all know, loanees typically don't come back to Leeds. That's generally how it's worked under Bielsa. I wish Pavetta all the best for his career going forward.
Absolutely. Do you have anything to tack onto that, Jason?
I'll tell you one person who will be happy about that, just quietly. Hyder Costa.
Yep.
One less person
absolutely.
to compete with. Yeah. One less person to compete with for another wing spot. Then they're going to obviously take it's hard competition with Armand Jack and Rafinha there as well. But again, just one less person to compete with. I think as far as Pavetta goes, the training ground bust up. I mean, whatever it is what it is. He's gone on loan. I really liked Pavetta, so I was a bit disappointed to see that he obviously has been moved on. I thought he was a really good impact player. He just needed to get a little bit stronger. I found he was pushed off the ball a little bit too easy at times.
Yep.
But at the same time, I mean, he's still young and he's obviously developing his game. But yeah, hopefully, I mean, in a perfect world, he goes away for the season and gets, full game time, hopefully under his belt at Rovers, and then comes back and obviously starts challenging again for that starting 11 spot. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Rightio. Now we're going on to the Burnley game preview coming up. The game is on Sunday night Australia time, 11 p.m. Sunday afternoon / evening in England. First of all, it's an away game at Burnley. What are your guys' thoughts on how we might go? And also, who do you see any lineup changes or bench changes? We'll start off with Jason.
Yeah, look, I mean, I guess to start off, we just need to win.
Exactly.
3 points is an absolute must. And obviously with the start we had against the arch enemy, would you say?
Scum United.
Yeah, I'm trying to be as professional as I can. The start that we had against them was not ideal, to say the least. So I think a win, 3 points. If I'm pushing it, a clean sheet. And then back on the bus home, that'll be sort of the order of the day, I think.
Yeah, fair. And Chris, mate, what do you think the scoreline will be? And who do you see being brought in? Or do you think Forshaw gets a either a starting spot or a bench spot in the game against Burnley?
Well, first of all, boys, I just want to take a bit of a football cliche and say that I do like football, but Burnley can absolutely fuck off. They're that football club that we've always sort of had the mustard over in the last couple of years. We absolutely took the piss at Turf Moor last season against them, and I think not much is going to change. They're one of those teams in the Premier League that has been that shouldn't be there. That's debatable. What I will say is that over the last couple of seasons, if you look at their form and you look at the results, they've been getting progressively worse. And I do think that they're one of those teams that's in the mix to struggle this season. I do think that we will take the piss against them during our next match. And my tip, I guess I will probably go 3-0. I think we'll do another Crewe Alexandra. I think it'll be a strong showing by a business as usual starting lineup. I think we'll get the 3 points.
Fair enough. And also, if you're ballsy enough to say 3-0, do you have goal scorer predictions?
I do. First of all, I think Paddy B is due to break his duck. I think that he'll go a brace. And Rafinha, I think he's due another brilliant cracker. I think he'll get the third.
Okay, so you're saying Bamford will get 2.
Yep, correct.
Okay.
I'm going to trust you, and I'm going to make Paddy Bamford my fantasy league captain this week. So.
Yeah, fair. And speaking of captaincy, obviously the last game we had in Premier League was Liam Cooper as captain, and this game just gone against Crewe Alexandra, Phillips was captain. Pardon me. Who do you think deserves to be captain for the Burnley game?
I think that Cooper will pick the captaincy back up. I'm not sure that that's really an avenue that Bielsa will want to go down just yet. I personally, I've always strongly advocated Phillips being given the captaincy. He's a Leeds boy, and obviously he's now a full English international. He's in many ways the pride of Leeds. I've always said that the captaincy should go to someone like that. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, I'm not the bloke on the blue bucket. So I think Cooper keeps his captaincy for this week at least.
What are your thoughts on that, Jason? Do you agree? Or if not, who do you think should be the captain for this week?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously Coops is the main man at the moment. I mean, and that's obviously Bielsa's choice. And I think we'd be fools to argue with the great man. But as far as the captaincy goes moving forward, I mean, obviously when we talk about Calvin Phillips, he's sort of just that guy, you feel like a proud dad when you watch him. He emulates everything that it is to be a Leeds United player, a Leeds United person.
Yep.
And look, I think in the future, I mean, he's obviously captain material. He knows what it means to be from the place and to play for his hometown club. And obviously he signed, made a pretty big statement signing that 5-year deal when we were, not knowing which way we were going to go in the championship. So, look, I think as far as, I guess, future captains go, that'll be something that I think will be a decision made by Calvin Phillips in terms of if he wants it, they'll give it to him in the future, I reckon. So,
Yep.
But yeah, Coops at the moment, I mean, yeah, stick with it for the moment. But yeah, who knows what will happen in the future.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Is there any closing comments that you guys would like to say about the Burnley game coming up and the most recent game against Crewe Alexandra? We'll start off with Chris.
I don't really have anything extra to say that hasn't already been said. I probably will just reiterate that it is important to get our first 3 Premier League points of the season. And I'm confident that if we play our game of football and we play our brand of football, it's going to be 3 points for ours for the taking. As I said during our last program, there have been many times in the last couple of years where the challenge for Leeds is to play Leeds' game, and sometimes we're our own worst enemy. I think we shouldn't necessarily have that problem against them coming up. I at least hope so.
Absolutely fair enough. And what about yourself, Jason?
Yeah, look, I mean, 3 points is key, is the main thing. Whether we get them, whichever way we get them, that's all that matters. I think at the time. I think one of the main things when we watch Bielsa Leeds, it's really nice to sort of watch the games and know what you're going to get. You're going to get a passing performance. You're going to get a grinding performance. You're going to get a working performance. So, look, whatever happens, if we come home with the 3 points, that's the main thing. I mean, the Burnley typically play, target man up front. Obviously, old Leeds boy Chris Wood. And they play a really sort of hoofball, Sam Allardyce favourite. So ideally, take 3 points home. Secondly, if I'm stretching it, clean sheet. And maybe just make their keeper do a little bit of work. Salt and pepper the goals, I reckon.
And actually, brilliant segue. Talking about salt and pepper, the old goal, we've got a bit of a big announcement coming up. So in CJ's infinite wisdom, we're going to be doing a very cliche Leeds United starting 11, but with a bit of a different flavour. It's going to be an Australian starting 11. And coming up next week, we're going to be revealing who that goalkeeper is. And for a little added bonus for you to all tune in, the goalkeeper is going to be joining us. CJ, explain who that is.
So we've got Danny Milicevic. He's our first announcement, the goalkeeper of the only Australian to be a goalkeeper for Leeds United, which is a big achievement in itself. Yeah, he will be joining us next week at some point throughout the week for a quick recording to talk about his time at Leeds, being the only Australian goalkeeper for Leeds, and what he's doing with himself these days. So be sure to stay tuned for our podcast next week, because that'll have all kinds of goodies, including Danny Milicevic.